Hey everyone, hope you're doing good. Today we are going to build upon our knowledge of agentic frameworks and look into the Python SDK that has been introduced by OpenAI. Now, this is the era of agentic AI, wherein every day new revolutions are coming into the methods of creating better agents. Now, OpenAI has also built in its initial swarm functionality to introduce Python SDK, which is the OpenAI Agents SDK, and it enables you to build agentic AI apps in a very lightweight, easy to use package. Now, it has basically three important parts. The the agents, which are the LLMs, which equipped with instructions and tools. So this is similar to the framework of Anthropic that we had discussed earlier. Then a new parameter or a feature that has been introduced in this is handoff. The handoff allows agents to delegate to other agents. Now, if you would have gone through my previous videos wherein we had discussed the Anthropic framework of delegating a task to a particular agent, so this has been made very easy by the handoff feature that the OpenAI Agent SDK will be using, and we'll be going through that, wherein an agent is allocated towards allocating or subtasking for different agents. Then we have another parameter of this agent SDK, which is also called the guardrail. Now, guardrail obviously validates the inputs. Now, this in a way binds in the whole ecosystem of the agents. So, for example, you are building an application and you don't want the LLM to answer anything which is out of the scope for that. So that will be a guardrail, and that can be used to enable the LLM to answer in that manner. And we also have a feature called tracing in the Open SDK, wherein the agents can be tracked, their whole functionality can be tracked through the OpenAI platform. So we'll go through all these, and we will in this video we are going to get started with building basic agents with Python SDK. So yeah, let's go. So let's start with creating the first agent. First things first, set up your virtual environment, which is highly recommended. Then install the SDK agents. Just do a pip install OpenAI agents if you are on Windows like me. If you are on Mac, follow the Mac protocol. Ensure you set the OpenAI API key environment variables like I have done over here, so that it can fetch the OpenAI key from the .env file. Right, so this is required for calling the OpenAI agent. Creating the first agent, I have imported these basic functionalities. You can do the same. Oh, by the way, most of this is inspired by the agentic SDK official document by OpenAI, and I have given that in the comments as well. So if you want to go there and sort of understand it in more depth, then you can obviously do that. Otherwise, you can also follow this code in a IPYNB file, that is Jupyter file, and it will be a step-by-step very basic procedure. Now, setting up the first agent, we'll come to the code of setting up the first agent. How agent is described in this OpenAI SDK is we give the agent agent is equals to agent functionality, which is a different function that has been released, that has been identified by OpenAI. We have given this as the math tutor, and instructions, we can give any instructions. So for this we've given the instruction: you provide help with the math problems, explain your reasoning at each step, and include examples. That is the very short and very basic build up of an agent, and this is the basic setup for building an agent, right? Then result is await runner.run. So basically there are three methods of running a agent. So one is when you run it in sync, when the other is when you run it sequentially, and there is one more method wherein you run it in a block system. So I'll discuss all these three methods separately just after we finish discussing these final agents. So yeah, we can print the result over here, and so basically I have asked it what is 3 plus 4, and it can print the final result output. So let's try and do this and check if it is giving me the result. Okay. So yeah, it has like for a very basic functionality of a math problem, it has given me what is 3 plus 4 with a reasoning at each step, which might be required, might not be required. This is a very basic function, but yes, we see that our agent is working fine. Now we add a few more agents to this, because obviously this will be an agentic system where you will work probably with a math tutor, a physics tutor, a English tutor. So if you are going to build this agent of completing a homework for you, something like that, just a hypothetical situation, right? Then I have added a few more agents over here, a physics tutor agent and a math tutor agent. Physics tutor agent and a math tutor agent, I think, okay. So this name will be physics. Let's do it like that. And math tutor is specialist agent for physics questions, specialist agent for math question. Okay, so I have built two agents over here, and let's now see. So the basic setup will be the same: name, handoff description. Now handoff description defines the tutor agent, the agent, and basically this is how it the handoff team or the handoff agent identifies that to what agent this particular problem needs to be delegated to. So that is why the handoff description is given over here. That is the specialist agent for physics questions. Okay, and this instructions remains the same. You provide assistance with physics queries, explain the concepts clearly. Cool. Math tutor agent, which is again a specialist agent for math questions. So yeah, we have added these two questions. Now we are going to understand through a triage agent how these handoffs are defined, so that a basic question which is identified by this triage agent when given in prompt can be delegated to either of these agents. So let's do that. Now understanding handoff is what? So in a simple term, obviously it is understood like what problem should be delegated to what agent. This is the basic definition of handoff. Handoffs let one agent delegate a conversation to another agent. This is useful when you have multiple specialized agents, example a Spanish only agent, an English only agent, or domain specific agents, tech support versus billing. Obviously a customer care is there certain problems come up to you, comes to the customer care in this whole agentic ecosystem. What's the problem? The problem is of billing, so delegate to the billing. What's the problem? The problem is for, say, customer care, delegated to the customer care agent. That's it. This is the handoff. Now we have named the handoff agent over here as the triage agent, which is for whom the instruction is given that you determine which agent to use based on the user's homework question. This is the basic instruction that has been given, that this is a setup for a homework agentic ecosystem, and you are the agent who is responsible for handing the question to a particular agent. And in handoffs, both the agents have been defined to whom the handoff can be given. So it can be given to the physics tutor agent or the math tutor agent. So this is the basic setup of the triage agent, which is responsible for the handoff. In results, we are going to give await runner.run, and we will give the name of the primary agent to whom this prompt query will go. So what I am doing is I am naming the triage agent over here, and I am telling it what is the derivative of x in x square plus 2x plus 1, right? Now what the triage agent will do over here is it is going to determine which agent to use, and then it will in turn delegate to that agent. So in this case it is clearly a math problem. Let us see if my triage agent identifies it as a math problem and sends it to the particular agent or not. So let's run this, and yeah, that is what we are getting. So that is good that we got the result from the agent. Now one interesting thing that is the part of this agentic setup for OpenAI is the traces. Now, how do I know whether my agent has been invoked or not? Because it is very possible that the LLM is doing it on its own. It is not even delegating it. So just to make sure of it, that the agents are being invoked to debug any kind of problem, a new part of the agentic setup is the traces. I'll just look up the traces over here, and I find that my math tutor agent has been invoked. So first the call was set up to the triage agent, and then it was handed over to the math tutor agent. Now this is a very useful setup for someone who is looking to debug what is actually happening in the agents while passing in the calls. Now this is a very simple setup that I'm showing you, but in the future you'll be building agents wherein there are like 20 agents, and then there'll be a separate section wherein you will call the agents, and then you will seek them for any kind of problems. So in that case, this traces ecosystem will come in handy. Now this can be accessed through the OpenAI platform. You log in the platform.openai.com, and you can go to the traces, and you'll see all the agents over here. So this is the list of agents that have been invoked by me until now. Execution time, then date is shown over here, then how it is invoked. Then obviously you can go delve deeper into that. That is a completely different section as to how to debug a particular kind of problem in traces. But yes, this is also a very interesting part of this whole setup, and I have personally not seen this useful setup in any of the frameworks until now. So I think OpenAI did consider this problem that there'll be debugging required, and there'll be problems that will need to be identified through this setup. So that is why the traces has been brought up in this setup. Moving on, adding a guardrail. Now we are discussing the very beginning. Why is a guardrail required? Very obviously, a guardrail is required because in this whole setup of agentic AI, and let me use a very simple example. What you'll need is the whole setup to perform a specific function and not allow the LLM to behave in a very generalistic manner. So this is this problem was faced when I was building one of the agents, or in the initial setup, I was building one of the agents which could answer the product manager interview questions. Now what happened over there was, when I was invoking a response, it always went out of the bounds. So probably it functioned well for the interview questions, but then if the user asked, say, what is the capital of Delhi, out of the sudden, then LLM will completely digress and use its resources to answer that question. We do not want them from our system. So imagine this this framework being this whole agentic ecosystem being invoked in the company, right? Now, so it has been invoked for users who can only retrieve certain kind of query. Now you will not want this whole setup to tell you or inform you about the generalistic answers. It should not go beyond that guardrail. So that is why a very important part of this ecosystem that OpenAI has introduced is adding a guardrail. Now through guardrail, what happens is the whole system checks if the prompt has been asked matches the requirement or not. If yes, well and good, the query will be executed. If not, again, it will say that any kind of answer that can be given by the agent. So we'll look up at the code of how this guardrail is set up. Now for this homework output, we have set up a class homework output, and we are returning a boolean value in is homework and a reasoning in string. Now what this, and then we have defined this guardrail agent, which is the name is guardrail agent, and the instruction is check if the user is asking about homework, and the output type is homework output, which returns a boolean value in is homework. Now through this boolean value, this guardrail is going to check whether the question that is being asked is yes or no, in the terms that whether it is passing my criteria of solving the query or not. Okay, then we are going to define the homework guardrail by passing the context, the agent, and the input data. In the result, we pass the guardrail agent as a parameter. So through this guardrail agent, it will retrieve whether the query asked is yes or no, and then in the final returned value, it gives it checks if the tripwire is triggered or not. So by tripwire triggered, I mean that whether my the query that I've asked is triggering the guardrail or not. So say I have two agents, and I'll just show you over the example over here. So say I have two agents. One is the physics tutor and one is the math tutor, right? Now, if in this prompt that I'm asking over here, when I'm running the triage agent, and if this in this prompt I'm asking some random question, say what is life, right? So this should return that this is out of my scope. Otherwise, if it finds a relevant value, if it finds a relevant question like what is the derivative of x square, that is a math question, or what is the Newton's first law of motion, something like that, a physics question, it is going to answer that based on the response from the triage. But something which is out of the scope is going to be restricted by the guardrail. So we are just going to test it over here. Running this. Okay. Then okay. What is this going to return? Great. Now this is returned. To find the derivative of x square, we'll use the power rule for differentiation, and all these steps are given clearly. Great, works for us. Now if we change this question to, like I discussed, what is life? Philosophical question. Okay, and if you probably enter it in ChatGPT or any other Claude normal LLM, it will reply you some kind of answer based on whatever the setup is. Now when I ask this should return me this is out of my scope. So yeah, hence the value of guardrail has been defined through this, that anything out of the scope of this agentic setup will be rejected, and then it will print the message as per se. The last part is view traces of agent to review, that we have already discussed. We can go on the platform and view the traces for debugging or for understanding where the agent has been triggered and where are the handoffs given. So I think that is it for the session today, for the video today. Again, to summarize, we have discussed the basic setup of OpenAI Agentic SDK and how to create agents, how to create the triage agent, which delegates the roles to different agents, and how to define it in a guardrail ecosystem. If you liked this video, again, please share and subscribe, and thanks for being there. See you in the next video. Thank you so much.